an amazing day. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, welcome. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my monthly reflections for the month of September. So if that's something that you're interested in, stay tuned. So every month I like to do a segment called monthly reflections. And this is just where I have a couple of categories and it allows me to reflect on the things that I did, some of my favorites for that previous month. And so today I'm going to be talking about my reflections from the month of September. So my first category that I generally start with is what was my favorite movie or a movie that I watched that, you know, I want to mention, honorably mention, right? For that particular month. Now, if you've been following me thus far, you know that I'm not, or traditionally not, a big movie watcher, if you will, in terms of watching movies online. I like to go to the movies, but I'm more of a like YouTube, Hulu series kind of girl, right? But I did have the opportunity pretty recently, the last part of September, to watch a movie that was on the channel or app Tubi, right? So I've watched a couple of Tubi movies, and so this one I thought was pretty good, and I'd like to just share and talk about that on today. So the title of that movie was called Marriage Pass. Yes, Marriage Pass. And so generally the overview of the movie is there's a couple, a doctor and his wife is a banker, and they have been trying to, you know, get pregnant and have children. However, the wife is feeling like there's some dull moments in the marriage. She can't seem to get her husband's attention or his time. And so she heard somewhere and suggested that they have what's called a marriage pass, okay? And so this marriage pass allows them to have one night to sleep with any person of their choosing, and there are no questions to be asked when they come back to see if it, I guess, spices up their life, if you will. Now, this movie is very, very interesting because with this marriage pass brings about some challenges for each individual. I don't want to go and tell you any more because I might leak. However, I will say the movie is an African-American, movie, so it's all African-American actors and actresses. Not high quality, if you will. However, I believe if you watch the movie through and through, the storyline is actually very interesting, and it has a surprising twist at the end. So that was my movie, if you will, recommendation. If you're into, Tubi movies, if you watch Tubi, that application, I think it's an app or channel, the movie Marriage Pass. And once you watch it, please come back in the comment section and just let me know. Or if you've already watched it, please let me know your thoughts. Rate it on a scale of like 1 to 10, or no, rate it on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the highest. I'd love to hear your feedback. So the next category of my monthly reflection is shows. And usually this category can be a show that I've actually literally gone to in person or something that I've watched on television. And so this month I want to recommend, and what I found I have been watching is a series. It's the Bel Air series that is on the Peacock channel. And so Bel Air, that's the title, is based on the sitcom The Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Sorry. This series is on Peacock, and it is very, very good. There are like 3 seasons, 10 episodes a season. I've gone through all of them this month and have found it very enjoyable. And I will say this, I did like The Fresh Prince of Bel Air, the sitcom that starred Will Smith, but I didn't watch every single episode. So I wasn't a diehard, if you will, but I enjoyed the show. And so if you were a diehard, from what I understand, you'll see how this movie or this movie series captures a lot of the major events through that sitcom, right? So it was very good, very entertaining. I actually love the characters that they picked for the individual roles of the, Banks household, the children, and all the things. I found it very, very good. So if you're looking for a series to watch, I recommend Bel Air, which is on the Peacock app. And I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback on that if you've already watched it. And once you watch it, come on back here and leave me your thoughts below. But I found that show, that series on Peacock, very, very entertaining. Loved it. Loved it. Okay, and so the next category is generally food or drink. And it might be a new restaurant, a new drink I tried, new food, or whatever, right? And so for this month, I really didn't explore anything new. However, I did go to Connecticut the second week of September, and we did have the opportunity to go to a restaurant there. It's like a local restaurant called Mary's. It's just called Mary's, right? And it's a restaurant. I won't even say it's a diner style. It's a restaurant, but they have great breakfast. I hadn't been there for any of their dinner, but we had breakfast there, and it was very good. I had a nice veggie omelet, home fries. What else did I have? French toast. It was absolutely incredible. Home style cooking. I believe the owner or staff is Italian there. And if I can put a picture up, I will. But that was good. It was just basic breakfast, but it was phenomenal. My family and I had an opportunity to dine there, and that was in Waterbury, Connecticut. So hey, if you're watching this video and you're in the Connecticut space or in Waterbury looking for like a great breakfast spot, hit up Mary's in Watertown Avenue. You'd love it. So for the month of September, the next category is books, and I did not complete a book for the month of September. However, I am reading 2 books, and I will share it here, and hopefully I'll be able to come back next month and give you a follow-up. Okay, so the first book is Undefeated by Shawnee Henderson. If you're familiar, Shawnee Henderson is the founder of the reality show Basketball Wives, and her ex-husband is NBA player or former player Shaquille O'Neal. Now, let me tell you this. I have never seen one show of Basketball Wives, okay? How I determined to even choose to read this book was Shawnee Henderson is now married to Pastor Keon Henderson out of Houston, Texas. I believe it's Lighthouse Ministries. Don't hold me to that, is the church. And so I began watching, just sort of randomly, Pastor Keon back in 2023. I don't watch him regularly, but there was a season there where I was just actually watching a lot of his sermons on YouTube. And you know how once you watch one, another one comes up and all of that. So I really like his ministry overall. And I recognize that she is his wife, and they have done some things together, which kind of led me to hear some of her personality, which made me gravitate to her book when she released it this year. And so thus far, I think I'm like not halfway through, I think I'm like chapter 5 or 6 of the book. And thus far, it's very good, very interesting as to how her and Shaquille met, how that situation went, how she began to create Basketball Wives. And so it's a very interesting story, or a sort of biography, if you will, of her and her life. And I'm not done yet, so I'll rate it when I complete it. The second book is called The Perfect Marriage. Now, this is the book that I am currently reading with my 2 nieces who live in Connecticut, right? Adult nieces, they're 40 and 43. And if you've been following me here, you know that the 3 of us will collaborate, agree on a book, and read it together, and then dialogue. And so we just have a lot of fun with that. And so one of my nieces picked this book. It's kind of a thriller. It's sort of a murder mystery of what I'm reading so far. And the premise is there's a high, very popular district attorney, woman, female district attorney, and her husband was cheating on her, his mistress was found dead. And so now he is a prime suspect, and his wife is representing him in the case. And mind you, she did not find out about this affair until it all went down. And so she is choosing to represent him in the case. Name of the book is The Perfect Marriage, and the author is Geneva Rose, Jeneva, last name Rose. So far, very good. I'm listening to it on Audible, which is great. It's a great read, an Audible, you know, because sometimes the narrator, if it's not, you have the right narrator, it can just mess the book up. But thus far, I'm really, really enjoying it. So those are the two books that I have been reading, have not finished yet, but for the month of September. The first one is Undefeated by Shawnee Henderson, and the second one is The Perfect Marriage by Geneva Rose. So check them out, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. So the next category is memorable moments. So that encompasses what activities or trips or whatever interactions that I found very memorable for the month of September. And there were two things. And the first was being a speaker and guest on a podcast or talk show, if you will, called Ring Out Your Sponge, that has been created by Regina Smithwick. She has a YouTube channel, and she also has a show, Let's Talk 1943, on a network, and I will list it below. I can't think of it off the top of my head, so I apologize with that. However, I was requested to be a guest, and so this was the title of her show is Ring Out Your Sponge, and this was the relationship edition. And so myself, along with two other guests, coaches, one was a transformational coach, Clarissa Law, and the second was Kendall Lanice, who is also a coach, and her title is a remix coach, right? They're both life coaches. They have a different audience. But we were able to talk about relationships, and this was not only so much fun, it was incredible. It was fun, very informative. We flowed and gelled, and we had a live studio audience, and it was just amazing. And I will leave a link below in the description where you can go and check it out on YouTube. But it was the relationship edition. Had the opportunity to drive down to North Carolina, meet these beautiful women, and be a part of this fabulous show. So make sure you check it out.
If you watch someone lie to their family, lie to their homeboys, lie at the job.
I just got triggered. Hold up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a liar.
But then you think it's because it's not you.
But you
just
think,
like, oh,
you think that it's not going to be you.
We always think we're the one that's going to make it different.
But we are who we are, as we talked about earlier, right? So a person's character, and I think that's what you need to watch, not just what they do to you, how they treat the people in the store. Do they open the door?
Right.
How do they treat elderly people?
Look at that. Yep.
Elderly people. How do they treat kids? You know, just in passing or in certain environments. All those things are relevant to their core being.
The second memorable moment of the month was, of course, going home to Waterbury, Connecticut, to see my mama. Okay. And so my mom is 84 years old. So it was a quick trip. But this trip, I had the opportunity to bring my family with me. So Troy and his family were able to come. And we spent a couple days, got to see one of my nieces while I was there. The other niece was, she was actually in North Carolina. So we kind of flew in opposite directions. Not flew, but, you know, she flew. I drove to Connecticut. But we were in opposite directions and got to see one of my other cousins there as well. And so that was always good to see my mom. And I'm going to put a picture up here somewhere of her. And she is 84. She'll be 85 in January. And just such a blessing. So I just want to share with you guys that, and I get a little sentimental about it, but because I lost my brother in 2022. Call your loved ones. Talk to your loved ones. Make amends with your loved ones, because we cannot take one moment for granted. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. But yes, trip to North Carolina for the speaking engagement. And secondly, seeing my mom on a trip to Connecticut and spending time with my family. And so last but definitely not least, I always have the category of what did I learn in the month of September. And so this month, what I learned personally was that, hey, we create boundaries. You know, I'm a life coach, divorce coach. I'm all about boundaries. I teach it, taught it, live my life by boundaries. But there was an area of my life that I had to recognize this month about boundaries and to remind myself that boundaries are not for other people, necessarily always for other people, to set limits for other people, but we have to create boundaries in our lives for ourselves as well. And when we create and stand on our own personal boundaries that we have for ourselves, it prevents us from going down paths that we know are not necessarily good for us, or make decisions that we know are not necessarily good for us. And so my point here is that boundaries are not just for other people. Boundaries are for ourselves as well. And so boundaries, or the area of boundaries, came up for me in this month. And I learned that lesson that I have to pay attention and still stand on my own personal boundaries. No need to expound. Think about that for yourself. Do you set boundaries in your life for others, but do you set boundaries for yourself? So there you have it. My monthly reflections for the month of September 2024. Hopefully you found it enjoyable. Maybe you found it, you know, whatever. Hopefully. Just wanted to share the good times, the reflections, and the memories that I had for the month of September. So listen, make sure you comment in the comment section. Let me know what some of your favorites were for the month of September. And then also, if you had a favorite book, or you've read any of the books or been to any of the places that I've been to, I'd love to hear from you. So once again, thank you so much for watching my video. Please make sure that you subscribe to my channel as we're moving through VLOGTOBER, okay? And hit the like button, thumbs up, and make sure you hit that notification bell, so that you can get all the notifications of my future uploads. Have a wonderful and blessed day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.